Hey, this is your man who did it. Who did it this time? Coming at you with another episode of Cross Reference. And this one is going to be covering Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe's takes on Air Michael Jordan, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. I caught a segment last week where Skip was saying that unanimously Michael Jordan was ranked the greatest athlete of the century. I believe Brady and some other guys, maybe LeBron and Kobe, were in that ilk. I don't know. It just seems like daily they're starting to cover Michael Jordan. But then something hit me. There is a branch of social engineering, and there's a lot of layers to unpack when it comes to Skip Bayless's idol worship of Michael Jordan, who, by the way, if you all don't know, I think overall he's the best basketball player I've ever seen, with honorable mentions of Wilt Chamberlain, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon, and then there are other skillful guys such as Dennis Rodman and so on. But it adds nuance to how I've been thinking in regards to this man's idol worship, because that's all it is. It's a game. He was saying that he's never been around anyone such as a figure like Michael Jordan, again, dehumanizing him, putting him on a pedestal, all right? And he went on and on and on, and if I'm able to find the clip, y'all know I'm going to share it. Or I will at least make the reference. But then Shannon comes in as a so-called black man. By the way, Shannon was a multiple participant in the Pro Bowl. He's one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game, and one of the greatest sports personalities as of right now in this society. I think most of you would agree whether you like him or not. He's great, not necessarily great content and great takes, but he's great at what he does. He's charismatic. He's informative for the most part, but he's also an idol worship of his God, none other than LeBron Ramon James. Notice I didn't mention him when it comes to the greatest basketball players, but he's still ours and he is a great athlete. Nevertheless, Shannon goes into some soliloquy discussing how being on the elevator with him, he was fearful, and I don't know. If I didn't know any better, it sounded like this man was about to talk about his rod getting hard. But then he compared him to the man of Galilee, allegedly, the man who was crucified. He compared him to our master, the Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, who the world knows as Jesus Christ, the true and living King. And when he slid that in there, Skip didn't combat it. He didn't bat an eye. And by the way, Skip is a so-called Christian. I believe he's evangelical, but that's another video for another time of that fraudulent movement. Skip goes into how dominant and how there will never be, and he's one of the greatest men, and he's the closest man to that man that was born in a manger. He dissed Michael Jackson. He dissed Mike Tyson, and never even mentioned a guy by the name of Floyd Mayweather, who's undefeated, by the way, in his sport. But that's another argument for another time. These are all opinion-based. But to sum it all up for this cross-reference, guys, he's trying to make Michael Jordan so high to make sure that other brothers, other so-called laymen, you brothers out there who are working on the trash routes, mailmen, military men, God-fearing men, deacons, trustees in churches, hell, police and law enforcement, not that I'm against or for it, attorneys, men who work in the education field, again, I said mailmen, UPS, FedEx, you men that's in the medical field, you men that are kindergarten teachers, and so on. I guess we're nothing, right? Because that's the part of the social engineering that has leaked into our community. Our women, you have to be a drug dealer or some type of phenomenon to get the respect. So that's just a little bit of seeds I wanted to drop on the YouTube family. We have to watch the conversations that are being held abroad. Michael Jordan is a man and he's going to die. I'm sorry to tell you all. I thought we learned that when Kobe went down allegedly in the helicopter. I thought we known that. And the reason why I'm saying alleged, because y'all know how I think. There's a lot of things that I question. But that was a hard day for me, as well as Michael Jackson's departure. Even Prince, it hits you, you know what I mean, as your childhood. But don't allow other nations to come in and tell us who we should be following. That's our problem now. Haven't we learned from the civil rights movement, following Bayard Rustin, following other feminine men? Who are these people to come into our conversations in our community to tell us who to gravitate to? Because Michael Jordan is a god to them. And this is where I question Kevin Durant's manhood when he tried to explain to Nick Wright. He said he was a god, then he said we can all be gods. Well, I know the Muslim brothers, and you know I have a couple that listen. If you're going to claim you God, tell that white man why you are. Or don't say anything at all. Not that I think any of us are God. We can have God in us, and he's all around us. And the kingdom is within you. But that's another conversation for another time. And I'm out of time. This is your man who did it. Peace.